Good morning, students of Standard 9. Welcome to the first video for this week. We will be discussing the chapter, The Happy Prince. This was the video. Once long ago, there used to live a statue in the center of the city. It was totally covered with gold, leaves of wood, and the eyes, sapphires were of it, while on the hilt of the sword, there was a ruby. Now, sapphire is a blue gemstone, while ruby is a red gemstone, and they are very rare and very expensive. This was one of the prettiest statues. It stood on the tallest column in the city, right at the center of it. The story is Happy Prince. Now, once a bird was about winter was arriving, and the bird had decided to fly to Egypt. Because we all know birds can't survive during the winter, so they moved to migrate to colder, warmer places. So while this bird was flying, it was already evening and it needed some place to rest. He looked for the places and then he found the statue of the Happy Prince. He decided to stay under the statue that night. He felt like he will be living in a golden room, a room made of gold, entirely gold for himself. As the bird lay near the feet, a drop and was about to go to sleep when a drop of water fell on his wing. Now the bird thought, what is that? Where does this water come from? The sky was clear. Suddenly another drop of water fell on him. He realized it was raining. And he said, this statue is no good because it is not protecting me from rain. And as he looked up, he noticed it was not raining. It was the prince that was crying. So the bird flew up to the shoulder of the statue of Happy Prince and asked him, why was he crying? He said, my name is Happy Prince. I was called Happy Prince because I never saw sorrow in my life. I was born happy, and when I was died, I was still happy. Sorrow was not allowed to enter the fort, the palace in which we stayed, so I never saw sorrow. But after my death, they made my statue and put me on the tallest column in the city. From here I can see the misery that my people are suffering. And that makes me cry. Earlier I was human, but now I am a metal statue ulta. My heart is made of lead. Still, it's the pain of the people. Paulo felt bad about it. First learning about that he was bad, and second he was also disappointed to know that the prince was only covered with gold, not made of actual gold. Anyway, he told, from here in the city I stand, I can see everything, but my feet are fixed on the pedestal, hence I can't move. Now, this is the time, you see, when he was born happy. He lived happily. He never knew what is sorrow. These are the pictures of that duration. Anyway, moving further, he said, Swallow, will you help me? Swallow said, no, I need to go to Egypt because it's getting cold. Cold is not good for birds. He said, I see a woman there from a window. I can see a woman who is a seamstress, who stitches clothes. And she has a gown to prepare for the queen's maids, for the queen's maid. So there was a ball. Ball means a party to happen in the kingdom. And she is tired and weak. Her hands have been pricked by the needles. She also has a son. Here's the seamstress who is stitching a gown. And through the window he saw her. And so he has a son who is sick and hungry. He is asking for oranges. And the mother is so poor she can't give it to him. So she is only giving him water from the river. This poor state of her was making the prince sad. He requested the swallow to take the ruby out of the hilt of the sword and go give it to the seamstress. He wanted to help them so that they could sell the ruby and buy some food for the child and get some medicines for him as well. Swallow said, okay, this is this one time. I will take your orders. I will follow whatever you say. And I will carry the ruby to the house of the seamstress. The bird flew throughout the city, carrying that ruby that the prince gave him from the hilt of his sword. Hilt means handle of his sword. As the bird was flying over the city, he could see ladies preparing for the ball, dancing, while the princess maid standing at the balcony and wondering whether her gown would be prepared on time, because he thought that the seamstress was lazy and would come up with several excuses. He saw all that and kept flying. He entered the house of the seamstress to the same window through which the prince had seen her stitching her clothes or tending to her child, and she was tired and looked very faint, weak herself. As the bird flew in quickly, seamstress had fallen asleep on the table. As the seamstress had fallen asleep on her table while the child was very disturbed, he went and put the ruby on the table next to her and flew to the baby. The bird also fanned the forehead of the child with its wings, and that comforted the child. The child felt very comfortable. And the bird swiftly flew away, and the child fell in a very nice slumber. On the way back, when he reached the prince, he said, "Prince, it is cold outside, but I am feeling warm. What can be the possible reason?" He said, "You have done a good job, and that is providing you the warmth." The bird, the next morning, decided to visit the city and have a look at how the city was. He flew across the churches, the cathedrals. He also flew over the harbor. And when it was evening, he came to bid the prince goodbye. He was there to wish him goodbye because he had planned to leave for Egypt. He said, the prince requested again, "Oh dear bird, can you stay for one more night with me and help me out?" The bird said, "No, prince, you don't understand. My friends are waiting there for me in Egypt. If here it is getting cold, I want to see the warm sun that I will find in Egypt. I like to see the crocodiles lying in the muddy waters." But the prince continued on with his request. He said, "I request you because I can't move myself. I can see more people in misery, and I want you to help me out on that. See, from here I can see a cabin on which I can see a playwright who is trying to end his play because he has to deliver it to the director of the play the next day. But he looks weak and tired. He is hungry, and because of this, he is not able to write. He is also feeling cold. He doesn't have any firewood. So I request you to stay one more night and help him out. I want the poor man's misery to end, and he somehow is able to feed himself and warm himself." Well, children, let's keep it to this for the for this week. We'll continue again the